If you're curious as to what goes wrong with door lock mechanisms, well, this is it. Let's get stripping this door down on Project TT. Hello and welcome back to the Volks Wizard channel, and welcome to episode 4 of Project TT. In episode 1 I bought the car, and because the all-wheel drive and anti-lock braking system were faulty, I had to limp it home, but they were fixed in episode 2 for just £24. In episode 3 I replaced the coolant temperature sensor and performed a long overdue oil change. Well, today in episode 4 we're going to replace the faulty door lock mechanism. Now the good news is this is a really easy job, perfect for the DIY novice, and a good quality part is only £30. But before we get started, let me just remind you guys how you can support the channel. The easiest way, as ever, is simply to subscribe. We're still getting a lot of views from non-subscribers. Obviously, it's brilliant to get those views, but it'd be even more brilliant if you guys could subscribe. I'm sure you know what to do by now. Okay, let's start off then by diagnosing a faulty door lock mechanism. Okay, so how can you be 100% sure your car needs a new door lock mechanism? Well, in extreme cases, you can't actually open the doors, and that makes the replacement of the mechanism a lot harder and a lot more expensive, because you might have to replace door trims and all sorts. So when they start to play up, I would highly recommend you don't ignore that and you replace them before they start to stick closed. Now in this car the symptoms are a bit more subtle. The door opens fine, but the first thing you notice on this frameless door, the window doesn't drop when it should do. It should go back up when the door's shut as well. Now on its own that doesn't mean you need a door lock mechanism. It might just mean that the window needs resetting by holding the switch in the fully down and the fully up position. But on this car we've got some other symptoms as well. The instrument cluster should illuminate so you can at least read the mileage. It doesn't, so it doesn't really know the door's open. That's what it should look like. That's just turning the headlight switch on. Also, you will notice there is no interior light on, even though it should be on. And then when you put the ignition key in, there's no warning to tell you the door is wide open. Well, if you open the passenger door, assuming this one isn't knackered as well, you get that warning. So it's pretty conclusive on this car. We need a new door lock mechanism. And here we have one. So this was about £30 from autodoc.co.uk. They seem to have their own brand called Ridex. Just made a funny noise then. They seem to have their own brand. That's another symptom, called Ridex. I'm sure they're made in China, but they're really good quality. Fitted one to my R8 last year. I've had no problems with it. Genuine part. They used to be well over £100, and they're probably more now. And I just resent buying them from the dealer because their ones have been so rubbish. So this, yeah, should do the trick. Where is it? Well, it's basically the latch for the door. So back in the olden days, all it was a latch with a pin switch. With the Mark IV Golf platform and newer, these got a lot more complicated. So behind here is that box with a load of wires going to it. You've also got the door handle going to it and the interior release as well. So to get to it, you need to take the door trim panel off, which I don't think is too bad on TTs. So yeah, let's get stripping this door down on Project TT. Okay, these are the tools you're going to need. So T30 will undo the bolt behind there. T20 M8 spline will undo the door lock mechanism bolts. Flat blade screwdriver, because you always need a flat blade screwdriver, but primarily in this case to detach the cable from the lock barrel. And that should be it. Anything else we need in the process I'll tell you as we go along. Right, let's start off then by taking this cap off. Now some guides and the official Audi manual say you should put a 2mm thing up here, like a drill bit or an Allen key, to release a tab that allows you to turn this off, but if someone's been there before, generally it comes off really easily. Okay, that really reveals the T30. Can leave that in there, and then now in theory there's nothing else really holding this on apart from gravity. So pull these finishing pieces off the ends of the doors, take the little red reflector out of that one, put it somewhere safe, and then just pull it out. Interesting. There should be a door seal on there. Okay, Okay, that's kind of come off. And then that should reveal a hole there. We can get to the lock barrel, but we'll come to that. So now, I'll just take this out in case it's obstructing anything. Let's see what happens. Okay, so that's the door card off. I don't think there's anything missing from here. Might be some little rubber pieces where the door trim sits that are missing, but yeah, it's a lot barer than on a Mark IV Golf, which has a metal plate here that takes ages to get off. Interesting, somebody scratched all these bits off which were part numbers. Wonder what they're trying to hide. Okay, so we have got to detach the cable from the door handle. There's the hook that goes to the door lock mechanism, which is just there. Now you can detach all the electronics, but all I'm going to do is put the door card there, and that gives us enough room to work. Now there should be maybe a cover on the door lock mechanism. It looks too easy, this does. Let's get the door lock barrel out first, I think. So in here is a circular piece of metal that retains the door lock barrel into the door. Same on a Mark IV Golf. If you undo it too far, something, I can't remember what, falls into the door. So in there, this hole, not that hole or that hole, you can see a brass screw, takes this T20 driver. Bear in mind someone else might have been there before and not tightened it up properly anyway. You turn it anti-clockwise, which loosens the grip on the door lock barrel. And while you turn it, try and pull it out. And there we have it, the door lock barrel. That goes into the door lock mechanism. But on the door handle, we have the Bowden cable. So a little cable with a hook, with a clip on the end of it that slots into the door handle. Now I like to mark this so I know where it's at, so I can refit it in the same position. And then pop it out with the flat blade. Now we can undo the two M8 bolts. Actually, before we undo the two M8 bolts, I just want to undo this plug, because they can be a bit stubborn. It's best to do it when it's held in the door. So the usual one, push the plug in towards the mechanism, press the tab down, you'll hear it click, and then it should come off. That just leaves the interior door release cable, which can come out with the door lock mechanism, but it is clipped on, and I don't want to break that. So let's attack it with a flat blade screwdriver. Okay, that's off. And it's not broken, so that's the result. Okay, just the two M8s now. Going way too well. It makes up for all the hassle I had when I took the under tray off and did the oil change and some of the bits. In fact, pretty much every job on this car so far has been difficult. Okay, so there's the old door lock mechanism. Okay, now you need to fit the cables to the new mechanism. So this is a Bowden cable to the door handle exterior one. So that's going to be sitting like that. We need this to fit into the handle, so this needs to be, the semicircular piece needs to be facing forwards. So you can put this lever out by hand, and then put this on so that the cable is facing forwards. So just picture it like that and like that. So again, 90 degrees allows you to slide this on. And there we go, facing forwards. And then now for the interior door handle. Again, 90 degrees to go into the lever, clip that into position, bingo. That's ready to refit. This is going way too well. What's the catch? Okay, so M8 splines back in. Okay, don't forget the power cable. That's a good sign, the window's dropped because the door is open. Okay, now we need to connect the cable to the exterior handle, so just pop that through by hand. Okay, that's through. Now in the official workshop manual it says something about setting the door lock to the basic settings position before you fit it. I don't think that's a problem for us because we've marked where the little clip's going to go on the door handle, so just fit it where it was before. Let's just check. Yep, happy with that. It's basically where the little cable is just about under tension. Not much tension, but not too slack either. Good. Now to put the barrel back in. Because until you do that, the handle doesn't work properly anyway. So let's hope our T20 Torx will tighten this up without trouble. Okay, that's good. So the handle should feel pretty normal. You can test it by popping the lock. So this thinks it's hit the striker pin, that door shut, the window I think has just gone up. Pull the handle, window comes down, door opens. So that's good, good start. Okay, I'm going to come back to this to lubricate the window regulator. I just want to make sure I fix the lock first. So what I'm going to do is, because it's so easy, put the panel back on and see what happens. It's always a good idea to, when you've got the keys, drop the window when you're doing this sort of stuff so you can't lock yourself out. Don't forget to clip the exterior door handle cable on with the hook facing upwards. Like so, and then clip the cable into position. Okay, there are 3 grooves there. It goes into the first one. Our clip has vanished for this, but we'll come back to that. It's over there. Make sure the hooks, I guess they are, pointing downwards, are locating correctly in the door. Now, if you'd done door lock mechanism replacement on a Mark IV Golf, I think you'd be probably half an hour behind where we are now. But this could slow you down half an hour if you don't know what you're doing, and you've got to get all these little studs into their positions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them. You could try some lube, or you could try heating them up. We're going to try doing it without anything now though, so let's start at the bottom. The problem is that you're trying to push these rubber things in, and there's padding here that stops you from getting a good bit of pressure on them, and they need to go in all the way, or they're not in. I'm just going to try and ease the rubber stud in. Yeah, that's worked. Okay, that's in. On to the next one. And finally, don't forget your red reflector. Bingo. Okay, time to test our handiwork then. So the door's shut, car's not locked. So let's see what happens when I open the door. It does open, which is nice. The dashboard has illuminated. That's good. Do we have an interior light? We do. Do we have a warning on the dash that the door is open? We do. And I should have mentioned earlier, it also primes the fuel pump, which is quite important on 3.2 cars. So that is a result. Do we have the window drop as well though? Now this is what I mean by the window regulator being in need of some lubrication. Eventually it will break because that's a hell of a lot of power. Okay, that's dropped. So it doesn't matter if the ignition's on or off for checking the door drop. Might help if the door shuts. Hurrah! It's gone up. Did it come down? Brilliant. So that is a really nice DIY job to do. It's not expensive if you use the Ridex part, which I can, guarantee is good value for money. It doesn't involve any scrabbling around, doesn't involve that many tools, and it can save you from being locked out as well. This car doesn't seem to auto lock. If you unlock the car, don't get in it. A lot of cars do, and when these go wrong, because it doesn't know you've opened the door, you might put your key in the ignition, put your bag on the seat, the auto locking will kick in and it'll lock everything in. I found that out with a Mark IV Golf the hard way. By the way, if you're curious as to what goes wrong with the door lock mechanisms, well, this is it. This is a micro switch that tells the car when the door's opened and closed. Generally, these work fine. You can actually feel the switch mechanism is pretty good. The problem is, and it's quite an obvious one when you think about it, on the latch, there's a rubber coating that makes contact with the switch and it wears out. So eventually it doesn't make contact. It's a bit of a crap design really. I think you can see there, it's eroded away. You can see all the black dust. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed that DIY job because it's a really easy and satisfying job to do, and hopefully it'll give you the motivation to perform other jobs on your TT, maybe ones that are covered in this series of videos. But there's still a lot to do on this car. So in the next episode, we're going to fix the slow window regulator, which is probably not helped by some of its components being made up on this coupe from Roadster parts. And then in episode 6, we're going to finally replace the thermostat, which means the car will at last warm up fully, which means I can start enjoy driving. Well, I hope it will start working properly, as we found out with the coolant temperature sensor. Sometimes things don't go to plan. As ever, guys, thanks for watching this Vauxhall Wizard video. Keep subscribing, keep commenting, and I'll see you for the next one very soon.